Silva.
How many of you have seen people?
Is it ganska mycket så är det som frakt. Och klart på badet. Och hänger det hemma vid vår. In relation to Peter, it's just us.
Okay, Peggy, it's April 30th, 2006, and we're just hours away from May 2006. And yesterday, April 29th, you posted a summary of your website and proclaimed it to be your final post for the website and set the closing date of the site for a couple days into May. What led to this decision?
I just didn't want to be involved with a big countdown. I felt I'd said everything I needed to say. I'd given every bit of information that I could come up with as far as what I believe is going on, what, the agendas, the reptilians, the cloning, the cloaking, and then the dates, this May leaving of this ship. So I felt that now it would just be rehashing. If there was any other information that I had forgotten, all these other people were doing reverse speaking, and I assumed that they could find it out for themselves. So I felt it was time.
You said from reverse speaking, I've learned about the reptilians, the plight of the people in the astral world, the reptilian eating of human meat, the net, the extent of the manipulation of all structures and beliefs, the cloaking of reptiles within people, the multi-dimensional nature of all of us, the role of other allies like the Pleiadians, the incoming of Planet X, as well as the true nature of the Creator. I had to let go of so many of my beliefs and now simply serve the One, which is all life, to the best of my ability. Now, many years ago, you were a co-host of UFO AZ, you had a couple of radio shows that you worked with, you worked in Off the Record, The Cutting Edge, you even staffed a UFO abduction hotline for a while. And if I'm correct, you also won a lottery a number of years ago, and that gave you some of the opportunity to do a lot of research. How has all the information that you've gathered doing reverse speech changed what you knew then to what you know now?
At the time, I've gone through the process being raised as a Roman Catholic. I got into sort of Eastern meditation. I was in Eckankar. And then I went into the New Age. I listened to a lot of channeling and interviewing probably, I don't know how many hundreds of people for over the time with the different, co-hosting the different shows. I heard practically every belief system available on this planet. And I subscribed to the fact that we were living here to learn, that this was part of the journey, that karma and reincarnation played into it, that there were different levels of reality, and that in our day-to-day reality, we can create our own reality through our intention, through our thoughts, through our beliefs. And I had to let most all that go. I found out that the near-death experience was a ruse, that we're in a net, we're in lockdown. This is not about karma and reincarnation. They reincarnate. This interdimensional reptilian race keeps us in a cycle in the game. We don't get out. We're just cycled around and around. If you mess up, usually by their manipulation, and you wind up in the lower astral realm, you are aimed to be hunted and eaten as food. Now, that includes little children who wind up there, sometimes because they die along with parents who, for some reason, there are a lot of little children in that world. And those little children are abused. It's just as physical over there as it is here. So this whole spirit, spirit thing didn't pan out. That we're not ephemeral wisps of energy floating around cemeteries. And the first time I really got that was when using EVP. I learned it through talking to people on the other side. They told me, and Francis in particular, Francis Haley, told me in particular what life was like over there, which was fine in the beginning because I knew he had been a screw-up, let's just say, and his friends were all messed up too, and I figured, well, okay, they got what they deserved by being in that place. It was not until I learned about the children there that that was a wake-up call for me. He told me that there was a family who were being kicked out of their house. They had no money, and he said if they go to jail, the sadistic jailers will rape the little children. And that was the day that I said, there's another agency here. This is not about God. This is not about karma. There's something wrong. And that really is what got me started. And once I figured that out and I stopped being, a cloud-riding New Ager, the people on the other side began to talk to me really honestly. Because I said, there's something wrong. You're not supposed to be there. This is not right. And that got their attention. And that's when they really asked me if I would try to help them. Of course, how do I do that? But
now, you said, well, do you feel like a messenger of sorts? You said at one time on your website, I never wanted to be a messenger. But do you feel like a messenger of sorts?
Well, I feel like I stumbled upon this EVP and then reverse speaking. It just happened. Whether it was ordained or not, I don't know. I don't feel that this is anything special with me. It's not my great gifts or my big psychic ability. It's nothing to do with that. It's a technical modality that I happened upon, and my intention for the website was to try to get other people listening too, because the more the better.
And you succeeded.
That's the best part of this.
Now, you say your house is like Grand Central Station. The first few questions here I'm going to ask are how all this has affected you and your personal life. So you mentioned that your house is like Grand Central Station. What do you mean by that?
Well, there's always entities here. For the first 2 years, Francis and the gang were in and out all the time. They would talk to me on my recorder. Now, I had glimpses of Francis, but it was very quick. But most of the time, I don't see or hear interdimensional, either people or reptilians. And I'm glad. I do not need that. I mean, if I thought I could, I would shut it down to the best of my ability. But they would be here. They would comment on, they knew about my habits. They knew about my life. They knew about, there is no privacy whatsoever, let me tell you.
And besides that, they even invaded you during the night. You said you had nighttime encounters with them.
Sure, they'd be in bed with me.
Well, tell me, one of the more shocking parts of what you shared with everybody was that you had nighttime encounters with reptilians and that they molested you and made you pregnant at one point.
I did. That did happen. That was, I did not consciously think, at first I did not believe that they were pulling me out of my body or molesting me or raping me. I did not believe that. I thought I was completely protected. And by reversing myself, I found out that that was not necessarily true. That they can do that, and they do it to almost everybody. Whether they remember it or not, it doesn't matter. I did tell myself that...
In reverse speech.
In reverse speech. See, I talk to myself in reverse. I ask myself questions and I give myself answers. And this part of my mind is much more aware than this shut down conscious state. And I basically told myself, I don't know if I can say this, I said it in such a way it doesn't mean that much. To have this sexual activity, what is it? It's just that. Don't get all worked up, and it's not the end of the world. I'm fine, So I gave myself that